Hey traders, David Frost, My Strategic Forecast. You're here for another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis. Today is Wednesday, January 29, 2025. We're looking at a daily chart of the SPY or Spider, which is the proxy for the S&P 500. What do we have on the docket today? Well, today was Kabuki Day. It was Kabuki Theater. We had the FOMC interest rate announcement. They stayed pat. The market went back and forth for a little while. And by the end of today, here's what we have. We have an inside day to yesterday, which means the high and low of today was inside the high and low of yesterday. She's above all the moving averages, and therefore the trend is your friend. And today's FOMC announcement day and Jerry's presser was nothing more than just Kabuki Theater. It was what we call in the trading parlance a nothing burger. It's kind of like what we call the Fed treadmill. We just keep going around and around and around, and everybody wants lower interest rates. And when everybody thinks the Fed is going to lower interest rates, the market goes up because that's what? You got it. It's more liquidity. The market goes up based on the Fed pumping liquidity into the market, and the market has trouble and hits a brick wall when the Fed is taking liquidity out of the market. It is really that simple. We'll see where she goes tomorrow after everybody has digested, quote unquote, air quotes, the information. Is she going to get above yesterday's high and fill the gap, or is she going to get in between or below those moving averages and get into a trouble situation for the bull case? We're certainly going to continue watching as the week goes on for Friday's close. Above all the moving averages, the trend is in fact your friend. How about NVIDIA today? Right of the vertical is today's activity. This was a trade in the live trading room today. We had some traders participate at a spike below 122 in NVIDIA. She gave you a quick bounce up to a high of 123.40 in this candle. See what happened after that. Came back for a retest. Went lower later and back up later. But the trade was a one-shot deal. First time, best time situation. We got her in NVIDIA. That's just an example of some of the things that come up in the live room. We're watching certain stocks. One of them traders like to watch and trade is certainly NVIDIA. It's what we call in the trading parlance a fan favorite. What about inside the numbers? Anybody making money today inside the numbers? Let's start out with the early pivot coming in at 604.15. How you doing? That's pretty slick. The high in this candle in the morning session was exactly 604.13, coming up short of the pivot by 2 cents. That's in the orb of give or take. Sometimes they come up short. Other times they spike them through. 2 pennies counts. Did we have some traders that shorted that number in the live room today? Yes, we did. We don't need to worry about the numbers above. What we do need to do is focus on the flip side situation. 602.45 is the first number you see there. We've got more as the morning grows on. 602.45. She went right back up to the pivot after reaching 602.45. Did we have long players at 602.45? And the short answer is, of course we did. We take some profit at our base hit, and then we ride them up toward the pivot. What did we do? We took profit at the base hit, and we rode her up toward the pivot, which was another exit opportunity. How you doing? How do you like dem apples? Remember, pause the video, read the notes, go back to the chart, and double check the work. Another number that came into the fray today after you get below 602.45 and stuff is 665. Market got a little wild right before Kabuki Theater set out. The FOMC interest rate announcement, you could see what happened, spiked them through, even through the big fat round number of 600, ran them back up to 602.45, back down. This was a rodeo into the afternoon session. And what we talk about in the live room as it relates to these type of days, Kabuki Theater, earnings announcements, all that stuff, these are spectator sports. You can make a trade around these events, but as long as you know the trade is not a trade, it's more of a bet. As long as you have the full and complete awareness of what you're doing, that's fine. These aren't trades with time running out on the clock into the end of the day after Jerry's presser or the FOMC interest rate announcement. Those are just bets trying to ride the market in one direction or the other or both. It's not easy to trade the rodeo situation. Remember, pause the video, read the notes, go back to the chart and double check the work because we do have some more numbers in here, even the just-in-caser stuff. For example, below 665 or 0.65 opens the door for 598.95. Didn't quite get there, came close, ripped it back up in the other direction, but it's good to have the numbers on the board. What about stocks on the move? We had some stocks on the move today. We had 3 on the board. All 3 hit their entry objectives. We had Danaher, DHR, Moderna, mRNA, and Nasdaq, NDAQ. Let's check out the charts. First one we'll take a look at is Danaher, DHR, getting a buzz cut at the opening bell. First number was 229.65. She spiked them to in between the two numbers, midpoint phenomenon. Ripped it back up. Doesn't look like much on a 5-minute chart, but this high is 232.27 off 229.65. She gave you the deal over a couple of bucks. Nice trade. That's what we're looking for. She gives you more. Great. We're looking for base hits. Base hits put you in the Hall of Fame. How about Moderna? You could see here, buzz cut at the opening bell. First number on the board, low of day, was exactly 42.78. You could see my number, 42.75, missed it by 3 pennies, came back into it, rip-roaring rocket ride back up, went down later, the trade's over. You're not trading this during Kabuki Theater. The trade is in the morning session. This qualifies or classifies as the manner in which missed it by pennies initially, come back down. We're in the first time, best time camp, but what we take away from this is, and repeat after me, the numbers work. How about NDAQ? First number's off the board. She opened below. Second number, third number, spiked them through, ripped it back up in the other direction. We had nice participation in NDAQ inside the numbers and live room members. Now, don't forget, we also have these table of markets down here. Let's check on the Qs today. What about support 1 and 2? Let's just start right at the top. We looked at the SPY. Let's look at the next one down. The Qs, support 1 and 2, 521.35, 519.25. Here's a 5-minute chart of the Qs. Right of the vertical is today's activity. You can see here, look at the resistance. Where's my tool? Look at the resistance, and then also look at the support. Pretty interesting information. Do you think it would be valuable to have this type of information presented to you each and every day before the market opens for business, long before the market opens for business? These numbers can be targets, they can be entries, they can be exits, all of the above. It just depends on the individual situation. Now, what's going on with the Q people? Eating some more time off the clock, still testing the 100-period moving average, but there's no material change from yesterday or the day before. They're eating time off the clock in this bullish type of formation. They're either going to break the chain or they're not. This is either going to go up and break out of this type of pattern, or they're going to break the chain and get below the 20-period moving average and begin to fall. Interesting that we've got some kind of an on-time type of situation for this bullish, flaggish type of pullback in camp IWM, the small cap space. What about the folks down at the transportation department? We got a new transportation secretary. I believe his name is Sean Duffy. He was sworn in today. No more Buttigieg. And no, the video didn't skip. As long as the transports are above all the moving averages, the trend remains your friend, and she's bullish. As long as she remains above the most recent breakup candle low, she's bullish. Give up the most recent breakup candle low. She runs a quick test of the 100-period moving average into, or at least taking a peek into, the entrance to no man's land where there's a gap down here below the 20 period moving average. Might want to write that stuff down. Progression of events down at Team Transports. We looked at the Q people from a short-term 5-minute chart to depict the support and resistance numbers that come out each and every day. Now we take a look at it from a daily chart perspective. You can see here they ran a test of the convergence of those moving averages, 20 and 50, ricocheted off. Did not close above yesterday's high or yesterday's close. That would have been a bullish development. That doesn't mean it's bearish. We just didn't get the bullish development. There was a lack of volume today across the board for the most part. We're looking for follow through to the upside, or are they going to break the chain and get below the recent lows and come down into this moving average, the 100 period, and test the former lows down here? Is that what's in the cards? It's one or the other. Fill the gap up here or come down to the 100 period moving average and run a test of the recent lows from mid-January. That's on the table. Both. What about the financial space? The XLF down 4 cents today. We can't make a federal case out of that. There's no new development nor any change or material change in the XLF down 4 cents today. They're above all the moving averages, flirting with the recent highs, flirting with the retest of the highs. That's all. No change. And what do we have for Smashmouth or the Philadelphia semiconductor space? We have them now developing, ING in italics, developing a bearish, flaggish situation under the moving averages, all the moving averages. The only way to break this chain is to recapture the moving averages, recapture Monday's high, get into the moving averages. She begins to break the chain. Other than that, she's building a bearish, flaggish situation for a move lower after building some more energy, going back and forth, eating time off the clock. Bulls need him to break the chain on the upside. Bears want him to eat some time off the clock and then have a rug pull event in the downside direction. Have I told you how much I appreciate each and every one of you? Without you, these videos are not possible. That is true and accurate information. We're pulling the ripcord here today. I'm David Frost, My Strategic Forecast. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis.